Welcome to Women's Radio 2. I'm Pat Barrett, and my guest once again today is Christine Baumgartner, the relationship guru. And she has proven to be a totally extraordinary gift to Women's Radio, and I'm really pleased to have her again. Today, we're going to be talking about how to ask for what you want. Doesn't necessarily mean how to control what you get or how to lambaste something to make sure you get it. It's just how to ask. And most of us have never, ever really been taught how to ask for what we want, or even it's okay to ask for what we want. So there are lots and lots of things that come up around the subject, and I'm really happy to have Christine here to fill us in. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you, Pat. That's such a perfect introduction because, yes, women especially have a lot of trouble first figuring out what it is they would like. And then they really have trouble asking. We have trouble asking for help. We have trouble asking for compliments. We have trouble asking for information. And we were taught so many hard, incorrect things as kids. We were told that we shouldn't have to ask because we're good at guessing, not always 100%. We can guess pretty well if somebody looks hungry or tired.
That's because we're so intuitive, right?
We're very intuitive. We're very attached to our feelings all the time, everywhere.
And I don't want to discount the men. There are men that are very intuitive too, and now we've got more and more men coming in, so we want to make sure that we are not sounding too biased here.
Yeah. And men have it over us in that they are just better at figuring out what they want and just asking for it and not having a whole conversation in their head about asking before they ask. We have a lot of conversations on our head. What's the right words? Maybe I shouldn't. Why should I? Shouldn't they just know? Why don't they just know? Right?
I can tell in lots of different areas. I know it's when you have a close relationship. I think those are the hardest, frankly. You're right. You think, oh well, they should know, or they should go read a book, or they should do this or that, and it never occurs to, or it never occurred to me. Well, you could just ask. Ask? No, I never do that.
I was shocked when I learned in my 40s that it really would be helpful if I asked, and that how often I would receive if I just asked. And the other thing that you mentioned about a close relationship, we really think there's a scale, that the closer we are, the more we care about them, the more they care about us. They really should just know. Why don't they just know? We're very confused that they
Yes,
don't.
why haven't we transmitted this through our vibrations, right?
I thought they could read my mind. And the louder I would say it in my head, the better I thought they could hear it.
Well, what did you find out, Christine?
I found out they can't.
They can't, right?
There was
Then
no
what?
beaming. I thought there was great powers in beaming it out of
I
my
thought
brain.
so too.
I did. I mean, lots of women are very surprised to hear that this doesn't work very well. Men are not surprised at all. They're so pleased when I say, I bet you can't read our minds. They go, we really can't. Just tell us what it is. And I learned it initially personally, and then I started using it professionally. And it's really quite amazing how it works. So first figure out what it is you need and want. What is it that you want? What is it you want somebody to do for you? What would you like them to say to you? What actions would you like them to add? What actions would you like them to stop or do differently? Words that you would like them to say differently or not say.
Or to say.
You want them to say this, you want them not to say that, you want them to say something differently. Those are usually, and then it's the do something differently, don't do that, or do this. I mean, those are really the three categories of saying and doing that there are available. So figure out what it is. What is it? And it's easier if you start out with what you would like in the beginning rather than what you don't like in the beginning. And what's really helpful
I
is
think that is a good beginning, yes.
before you ask, you tell them something you already like that they're already doing.
Such a good point. Always give a compliment first.
Everybody goes,
What? That is not hard. I can do this, right?
they say it's so basic and easy. I go, so much of the advice in the world, and certainly that I give, is really basic and easy. And I admit it's not always easy to do. It's easy to hear and you go, well, that's really easy. And then you go to do it and you're like, well, I've got a bunch of things in the way of doing that. I love your face because that's how people feel. So figure out what it is that you would like them to do in addition after you've already complimented them something that they're already doing that you like. Because if you're spending time with somebody, hopefully you like a few things about what they're doing already.
Absolutely. Right. And
And
if you
really,
can't find those things, that should give you a clue, right?
then you shouldn't be there, right? And what we do as women often, men do this differently, but since mostly we're going to talk to the women at this very moment, it's not that we don't notice and see the things they're doing that we like. We just don't say it. It goes by. We go, oh, that was nice. And what happens is if we, yes,
I want to interrupt long enough to say that I don't think that women are the only people who can't say things.
no,
That men also have a really hard time saying things that they feel deeply about,
yeah,
but they just can't spit it out. I don't
yeah,
know any other way to say that, you know. People that I have loved dearly, dearly, just can't say, Pat, I really love you. I just love you.
yeah.
So I have to ask myself, is that me? I hope it's not me.
Well, that is a whole nother subject that I would be so happy to talk about next time
Next
because that
time.
is such an important subject. The whole subject of why men don't talk about their feelings in general and why the love word is sometimes hard to say as a subsubject of that. Yeah.
Okay, next time.
Yeah. Because
Hold
we
your
women have a lot of control over that, more than we realize. And we have a superpower that we can do about helping men talk about what's going on for them. Because,
Well, that leads into another good subject. So you go right ahead and tell
yeah,
us how to ask for what we really want.
yes. So you start out with a compliment. When you notice something that they're doing, say something about it because it does two things. First, if you just don't say anything, you don't take it in either. Oh, this is really a nice person, and look at the things they're already doing. It
Mhm.
just goes by. And then you're building up a credit with him where he's like, oh, she's noticing. She's noticing
Mhm.
I'm spending my time, energy, money, and energy on doing this thing or participating in this or saying this thing. She's noticing because they are very clear about how they're using their time, money, and energy. They're much more targeted about it. They're much more focused about it. They really look for the return on their investment for doing something with their time, energy, and money. Where women that are highly in their masculine in business pay more attention to that. Women in general in the world, we don't. We give until we're completely exhausted. We don't say, am I getting back from giving to this friend just because I like giving to them? I see that they're happy. We go, oh, but they didn't give back to me. And I just kept giving and giving, and I didn't appreciate what was the value I was receiving. When I've talked about how I volunteer, it's very physical work to deal with horses, and I still to this day say that I got 3 to 4 times back anything I gave out. I came out way so full from doing this very physically exhausting work. It was very rewarding for me, so I
And
made
still
sure
do.
that I was getting back. So that's what you do when you say thank you. Oh my gosh, I noticed that you did this. I appreciate you did this. You're now taking
Right.
in the thing that they did, and they're hearing, oh, she sees that I'm doing things. So that when you say, I really need you to do or say this new thing in addition, they'll go, oh, yeah, that sounds reasonable. I could do that. So when you say, I would really like it if you. So my big thing I talk a lot with couples is when I get the woman on the phone and she's mad that he never takes out the trash. Said, tell him
Is the most common complaint I have
the
ever
dishes, the dishes, the laundry folding, and the trash. Yep.
heard.
So you compliment him on he comes home from work, he helps with the kids, he does the yard, he calls you on his way home, something. Find 3 things that he already does that are nice and caring and you like and say, I really appreciate, they like that word. I appreciate that you call. I really appreciate that you call and ask me if I need anything from the store on your way home. Or I appreciate that you make sure you come home on time for dinner and don't go out with your friends. Women will say they're supposed to do that. But if you like them doing it, compliment them about it. So then you say, I need something additional. And they'll go, what? And said, it would make me so happy if you would collect all the trash every night, everywhere in the house, in every trash can before we go to bed and take it out to the icky, horrible trash can outside. And then you wait to see if he says. He might have to think about it and make it his idea and grumble. You ignore all that and he'll say, okay. And then you say, is there anything you need from me to make sure that that happens? And then you wait and see what he says.
Uh-huh.
He might say, I think you'll have to remind me a couple of times because it's a new habit. Or, no, I think I got it.
Mhm.
Or, I'm not sure where the trash bags are. I mean, there just might be that. And so you
Mhm.
tell him, and then you stop. And
Mhm.
I love giving this homework because then the woman tells me when I talk to her the next week that the trash is cleaned up out of the house every night and out in the trash can every night.
Mhm.
So then what happens when he comes back in from taking out the trash every time? You say, thank you for taking out the trash. It did make me happy. Every time I have to tell him thank you every time. Did you like that he took out the trash? Uh-huh. Would you like him to continue taking out the trash? Uh-huh. Then please say thank you every time. I know the faces people make. And so my most fun story about that is the woman who said not only did he take out the trash every night, but the neighbors stand outside and he explains to them that he's the trash king of his house and his wife will never touch another piece of trash to take outside
Woohoo.
for the rest of her life.
Wow. So, what do men ask of women?
What do they ask that they want?
Yes, that they want.
One of the biggest things they want is appreciation for what
I
they're
think you're
already
right.
doing.
Yes.
It's the truth, Pat, because we notice, but we don't say. And they
Right.
will do it. They will continue to do it for a very long time without a compliment. Oh my gosh, what happens if you give them a compliment though? They puff up. They want to do even more. So then I talked to the same trash king woman for a couple months over other things that were a problem and now they're getting better and she says, "You know what he did the other day? He mopped the floor."
That is a big one.
Because she was busy noticing and complimenting all the other things he was doing. And he said, what else could I do? I could mop the floor.
Wow.
Generally, a man that cares for you, I mean, in business, if they care about that you're bringing in money to the company, if they are concerned about you getting a promotion, if they see your value at work, this works just as well. That if you say, I really appreciate all this stuff that you're doing for me. Thank you so much. And this is what would help me be even more successful at my job, helpful for the company, even better wife, even better mother, even better happy in our marriage. Men that care, the right men, good men, which is all we're supposed to be with, their ears prick up and say, what? What? I could do something that would help you be happier with me and our marriage, and you might be more appreciative of me. I might get my special meals. I might get more regular sex. Because the other thing that happens for women is when we ask for something and we get it, we feel closer to the person. You know how when a really special friend, a girlfriend who really knows you and gets you a very special present because she knows you'd really like it because it's so you feel closer, you feel drawn to her. Well, men don't always know what that thing is. If you tell them what the thing is and they go do it, your insides don't discriminate. Your insides will say, oh, I liked that. I now feel closer to him. I now feel more appreciative of him. Oh, I bet he would like his favorite meal. Oh, gosh, I'm feeling kind of sexy tonight. Maybe we should take a shower together. It's It's so much better for both people when the woman does this for herself. You're doing it for you because we're all overwhelmed. We're all doing too much. We're all exhausted. So if there's something that he could do that you would like to stop doing, ask him. This would make my life so much easier, hun, if you did blah, blah. And then see what he says and ask him if there's something he needs from you. Does he need you to support him in that? Does he need something in trade? Because he'd say, if I did that, would you do this? And it might be some really tiny thing. And you're like, yeah, I could do that. Because most men are going to start out with something tiny because they really don't believe they're going to get it, sadly. And then if you do it willingly and gladly, and you both go back and go, and you get thanked for the thing you did, it just encourages everybody to want to do more. It lightens the mood. It helps things get more positive. So then if you've done the complimenting and you've now asked for something that you need new, a new thing, a new nice thing, and you've given them support and they've done it. So then down the road, we all do something that, was thoughtless and hurtful and we didn't mean it, but wow. And then when you get to say, that was harsh. Wow, don't do that way again. I need you not to do it that way again. I need you to do it this way instead. You've already got a pattern of asking and receiving
Right.
on the easier thing, so that now when this feels maybe a little harder, there's a line of communication already established. So
Right.
that's why I don't start out with a complaint.
Right. 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 But I think all of us need to be able to hear someone who starts out or who lets us know, when you said such and such the other night, it really hurt my feelings because I took it that you thought this,
Yes.
but it's taken me a couple of days, but I thought maybe we should talk about it or, come up with a better way to
Yeah.
give each other feedback or whatever it is. There's always a way, and you're so good, Christine, at coming up with these various ways of approaching a very difficult conversation where people know we really care. We're just trying to work out the kinks, as it were, or things that they can't possibly know that we like or dislike or whatever until we say something. And sometimes it takes something that we're uncomfortable with. And we also have to say that in a good way.
Absolutely. And I love how you put it. It was perfect. And if people only talked that way when they were upset, it would be lovely. Generally, we don't. We haven't learned that. Nobody teaches us that. That's the hardest thing.
Unfortunately,
I had two different people say this yesterday that I was coaching. Why isn't this taught someplace else? Why isn't it
uh,
taught in school?
unfortunately, we're all taught, but we're generally taught by the wrong people,
Yeah.
our parents.
We're taught how to do it the other way rather than this way.
Yes, because nobody ever taught them, and it wasn't common practice in their day.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually because women have come into their own to a great degree, and they really want to have good communications. And the only people we've been allowed to have good communications with up until the last century, I guess, has been other women.
Mhm.
And I don't think we did such a great job of that either, to tell you the truth.
True.
And maybe still don't, who knows? But um, yeah, and we think we talk to other women about how to get along with men, but we don't have those good experiences and the learning experiences, the way to talk, as you say, how to ask for what you really want.
And
Well,
the way I've learned is from men. Men have taught me how to talk to them.
that is amazing. Well, we should all sit in on your classes where there are a lot of men and we get to play act, right? I think sometimes you just have to talk with people that you're not, quote, emotionally involved with to be able to practice and do and say the right words.
Practice not interrupting, not taking it personally, and not telling them they're wrong.
Very good. I think I'll include that in the notes here.
And that's what we'll talk about on the next thing about how to get men to talk more, because men personally and professionally talk to me a lot because I've learned to be a safe place for that to land. And most women don't know how to do that. And they're
Yes, we're
frustrated.
not taught.
We're not taught. We're uneducated. We're smart. We're just uneducated in this area. So because we're
Yes.
smart, we could learn. I'm happy to
Well, this conversation and the next conversation, I think people have got to tune in to these because these are ultimately important. If you can't do this, affect this kind of change with people that you care about, how can you go to the office and care, really have the kind of conversations that are gonna push things forward fast, that are
Yeah,
gonna make a huge difference in a company because you can't really say you haven't learned to say what you need to say when you need to say it.
it's true. Very good point.
Yep. We'll talk about that too.
Yes, we will.
Well, this has been a lot of fun and really educational. Thank you so very much, as always.
Welcome so very much.
And I'm glad
Always a
that you're recovering. I bet most of the viewers didn't realize that you had a little surgery on your nose last week, right after us,
yes.
the next day.
So I'm
And
still a little nasal and stuffy, but it's getting better. Yeah, I had a
yes, it
deviated
will.
septum, and apparently I didn't know I was breathing badly, but apparently I'm gonna breathe even better now.
That is wonderful. I'm very pleased to hear it. Thank you for showing up tonight. You sounded perfect to me. So,
I don't
uh,
sound like a cold. I sound like a cold in my head.
no, no, you sound great. And we can't wait for the next time, as always. Thank you so much, Christine.
You're so welcome. Thank you for the opportunity as always, Pat.